Kingston, Jamaica, yeah, man. Not a good situation down there in Jamaica. I mean, they got a Cat 5 that they've been dealing with. We're gonna have to assess all of the damage as we move forward here. Welcome back to American Sunrise, everybody. All right. President Trump continues his marathon trip across Asia, and he spoke to the troops in Japan, and he praised the Navy. Take a look.
From the thunderous roar of the guided missile destroyers, never saw anything like it, to the spectacular sight of nuclear submarines all over the place, to the unstoppable force of another great American aircraft carrier, one thing was clear, that no enemy will ever even dream of threatening America's Navy. There's no Navy even close, not even close. You hear about some of them doing ships, but nobody can do what we do. Nobody has what we have. And we also have the best equipment that rides along in those ships. You see that nobody makes equipment like we do. Nobody makes the ammunition, the weapons, the missiles, the planes, none of it. And if they do, the American sailor stands ready to crush them and sink them and wreck them and blast them into oblivion, right?
I believe the out cue on that soundbite was blast them into oblivion, if I'm not mistaken. For more, let's bring in the chairman of the American Defense International. That would be Hipp. Van, thanks for being here this morning. So we're hearing so much about how this relationship between the United States and Japan is the, quote, greatest alliance in the world. So tell us what President Trump is trying to do here, why this relationship with Japan is so crucial. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I think a couple of things. Number one, I think he's trying to get more investment in the United States. And you're going to see a big announcement by the prime minister exactly along those lines. And he's also sending a strong message to China. All these things he's doing are in China's backyard before he goes to see Xi. Look what he did at the ASEAN conference with the deals he put together there. And he's always trying to get the best deal for the American people. So, and in Japan, the prime minister is also going to announce a major increase in defense spending. So he's doing all of this. And I do think he caught the Chinese off guard with the critical minerals deal that he did with Malaysia and Thailand. They expected some of these deals, but I don't think they expected that. And it was only after that occurred that China said, guess what? We have now reached a preliminary framework for an agreement with the United States. The thing about Communist China, they will only do a deal with you when you're holding the cards and they have been outfoxed. And I think that's exactly what has occurred right here.
Well, with your card analogy, President Trump has a full house right now, it seems like, and he's preparing to go into that meeting on Thursday with Chinese President Xi Jinping. He's also got a royal flush when it comes to the situation over in Venezuela. Check out this Fox News headline, which says, U.S. Navy destroyer arrives in Trinidad and Tobago as Trump turns the screws on Venezuela. Venezuela, of course, as one would imagine, condemning the move. But the U.S., we know, has conducted several strikes on suspected drug boats in the region. And again, this is another way to kind of turn the screws and to create a posture of strength, even in that region.
Yeah, Maduro's feeling the heat right now. And let me. I think this is a key point. Trinidad and Tobago is only 6 nautical miles from the coast of Venezuela. And I remember when Ronald Reagan was president, there was another drug kingpin and a dictator actually in Central America. His name was Manuel Noriega. And he was also indicted by U.S. authorities, just like Maduro. It didn't turn out well for Manuel Noriega, and I don't think it's going to turn out well for Maduro. All of this points to the fact that this president understands that his chief responsibility as commander-in-chief is providing for the common defense and keeping the American people safe. And that's what he's doing.
Absolutely. You know, Terrence brought this up, but President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are slated to meet on Thursday. Both sides are close to a trade deal, they're saying. Trump said that he expects to come away with the deal with Xi and added that he had a lot of respect for him. What do you think that this would mean for the global community if they are able to reach a deal here?
Well, I think it's vital. But again, and we're looking at right now that what we're hearing is that China would buy more agricultural products from the United States. Secretary Bessent has also said that they've agreed to reduce and stop the flow of the precursor chemicals for fentanyl. But you got to understand that in the South China Sea, but basically 1/3 of all the cargo in the world for free trade, $5 trillion tons a year goes, $5 trillion a year goes through the South China Sea. So that part of the world is vital to the economy of the free world. And China's always engaged in various shenanigans, as we know. So I think the way the president has handled this there with at the ASEAN conference, and also he's got a great relationship with the Philippines. Much hasn't been said on this trip, but he had a great meeting with President Marcos a few months ago at the White House. So I think the president, he has set himself up for success with this meeting with President Xi.
No doubt about that. Van Hipp, thanks for joining us here on a Tuesday morning. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great to be with you.
Thanks, Van.
All right, coming up, what are some of the signs of low testosterone and what can be done to treat it? Stay tuned for today's health news segment. That's next on American Sunrise, everybody.